Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Cabral.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Great to have you here tuning in for our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Hopefully you tuned in yesterday. We went on over plenty of questions that came in from the community, and today, of course, will be no different. Really look forward to being able to look at what's going on inside of our community, see what type of wellness-based issues or weight loss issues, metabolism, brain fog, hormones, you name it. That is our job literally every day for the past about 20 years. Myself and many of the people that I've been fortunate to work with have seen cases from all over the world. So we have a pretty good idea of a lot of the different health conditions that people come in with. And my goal on these weekend shows is to simply give you that best first place to get started. So we're definitely going to recommend looking at an alternative opinion. We'll be looking at new research. We might look at a lab test to run. We might look at a protocol, give you some advice on what you're currently doing right now. Or, of course, like everything in between, I always say, whatever you need, that is absolutely what I give you. I do want you to keep in mind that we're not giving you a diagnosis. We're not giving you a medical treatment protocol. What we're doing is we're always observing and trying to get after the underlying root cause issues as to why your body's not currently balanced right now. So without further ado, I want to make sure that we get to all 6 questions. We do 6 questions every Saturday and every Sunday. And these questions are coming in from right around February 24th. I know this first question was actually missed last week. It's from Sarah. It was written in on February 19th, but then the rest of these will be from February 24th and 25th and 26th. All right. So Sarah's up first. I'm just opening up this document. I always, again, make sure that it is fresh, it is up to date, and everyone's answers or everyone's questions are actually answered in the order that they come in. All right, so Sarah's up first. Again, Sarah, apologize. Yours should have been from last week, but luckily we're able to help you out here now. All right, Sarah says, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm a big fan. Thank you for all you do. My daughter is 6 and finds it difficult to articulate what she needs to say, even though we constantly correct her. She often pronounces words wrong. I don't see that any of her peers have the same problem. I thought giving her DHA may help. I just struggle to give it to her as she dislikes the taste. Even the lemon one. I've even tried to sneak it in an apple juice, but I got found. What are your thoughts on DHA, and would you have any other suggestions on what we could do to improve things? I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Sarah." All right, Sarah, happy to help with this. And what I would say is that we don't actually know what is going on unless we do test. So there's a couple things you could do. You could say, okay, you don't want to do any lab tests, and I totally understand that. So then what you're going to want to do is just make sure that your daughter is getting a good multivitamin, and that might be, 1 capsule a day of our activated multi if she's under, let's say, 40 pounds. If she's 50 pounds, then she could certainly do, about one a day is still the best for a 6-year-old. So once they get up to 75 pounds, I would even just say 65, 70 pounds, they could do 2 a day, 1 at breakfast, 1 at dinner. So it really just depends on the weight of the child, the maturity of the child. Then you'll want to make sure they are getting that omega-3 in there. And if they can't swallow one of the capsules, they can't swallow one of the capsules. And so then your best bet is to try to mix it in some food or in a smoothie. That's a great way to do it. You can just literally use the omega-3 support liquid, and you don't have to blend it. But what you can do is when you pour that smoothie, you can just mix it in with a spoon. And then you also want to make sure that there's no gut dysfunction either. That's really, really important. So for you, I would run what's called the starter kit. That is absolutely what I would do. I would love you to run the food sensitivity test as well, But the starter kit would come first because it would let you know if she's deficient in B vitamins, vitamin C, zinc, folate, any of these things that could affect any type of learning or mood, etc. So, and then we can also look at heavy metals. We can look at high copper, low zinc. That's often a common one with kids as well. So then we can say, okay, no, now we actually have to give your daughter a little bit extra zinc. So all these things are able to be figured out. I recommend the starter kit plus the IgG food sensitivity test. And of course, we're here to help if you want to do a follow-up. Okay, Cass is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I cannot thank you enough for all that you do, teach, and be. We are truly blessed. A very deep, heartfelt thank you. Thanks, Cass. Appreciate that. Could you please recommend what advice you would offer to a 51-year-old menopausal woman? No cycle for 2 years, has had high levels of deep emotional stress for 2 years, is coming out the other side. Thank goodness. Suffered chronic fatigue in the past, high levels of stress, trauma, overtraining, undereating. Anyways, been suffering from issues with bloating, gas for a long time. I completed the organic acids test, hair tissue mineral analysis, food sensitivity, and omega-3. I was high on candida, bacteria, succinic acid, alumina, mercury. Let's see, I can't go through a whole lab test, but I get the gist. You completed your heavy metal detox. You did the parasite protocol, did the CBO with the finisher. And let's see what else. Retested, candida was reduced, but still a little high on bacterial markers. Also still showing some parasites present with blasto. Take the daily foundation protocol level 3, Bs, zinc, adrenal soothe, calm, CalMag, alkalizing vitamin C. Still suffer from constipation, slow bowel movement, fatigue, bloating. Gut better, but not great. Clean diet, exercise, meditation, etc. daily. Okay, I feel like we just went through a whole hour intake in that one question right there, but I totally know where you're coming from. I understand. All right, so a lot of times in these particular issues where you got rid of the candida, but there's still a little bacteria left, there's still a little bit there in the gut, we're oftentimes looking at what's called a slow fermentable gut. What that means is that the peristaltic movement in the intestines is a little bit slower, so that the food and bacteria, which your stool is predominantly bacteria, doesn't move along as quickly as it should. And that bacteria can begin to overgrow. And so what happens at that time is that you can actually have what's called a backup from the small intestine, or I should say the large intestine, into the small intestine right here. So this is the cecum, and this is the ileum right here. And this is the ileocecal valve. And this actually pops off on this model right here. And you can see that there can be backflow from this colon into the small intestine and giving yourself higher levels of bacteria that shouldn't be there. So it's really important that we actually do that CBO protocol again, or the modified CBO. But this time we also want to make sure that there's no constipation, that you're having 1 or 2 bowel movements per day, and that you continue to keep those bowels moving with whatever that you need to do, exercise, water. We talked a lot about that on yesterday's podcast as well, to make sure that we reduce stress, not just through nutritional supplements, but through actual lifestyle modalities as well. That's really, really important. And then to make sure that we get you on a probiotic that's right for you, whether it's the Clean Gut probiotic or the daily probiotic support. So that's my highest recommendation. You're on the path. You're doing a great job. We just need to continue down the path. That's really it. And you will get there. Work on your breathing, deep belly, diaphragmatic breathing to really calm your body as well. And that includes the nervous system, which innervates the intestines. Next up is Anonymous. Anonymous is asking, I was recently diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which is not your specialty, but I was wondering if you had any advice on the subject. I was already working with a therapist and things like that, but would really like to know if there's any supplement or lifestyle recommendations that might be helpful in addition to what I'm already doing. Thank you so much. Okay, this is actually an area I do quite a bit of work in, but of course, I'm not on the therapy-based side. So I just want to let you know, first and foremost, what's my scope of practice and what's not. So I don't work on the therapy-based side of that. However, I've worked with many, many people with many different, let's just call them mood imbalances. I think that's the best way to really say it. Whether it's borderline personality disorder, whether it's lower mood, depression, bipolar, what else? PTSD, you name it. Because there is so much of that to do with a chemical element in the body, and those include neurotransmitters. So what I recommend for you, Anonymous, is a couple things. Big 5 labs, no doubt about it, because if you're low on B vitamins, you're not balanced. If you have higher copper than higher zinc, you can have a lot of these mood-based issues as well. I could go on and on, honestly, but I would run the big 5 if possible. Omega-3s you need to know about, any inflammatory issue in the body, and then I would also run the neurotransmitter lab if possible. If you can't run them all, totally understand. I would run the starter kit, and that's the least expensive, and it will give you a really great array of data and details on that. Okay, so that's where I would start. I'm happy to help. Again, I've just seen people do so much better with getting in their B vitamins, with getting in their omega-3s. So even if you're not able to lab test, I would at least start with 6 to 12 weeks minimum of the daily foundational protocol level 2 or level 3. And you might see dramatic, you very well may see dramatic turnarounds. So never discount it. All right. Never discount it. Keep the hope up. All right. Laura's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I've got a question about MARCoNS. I've had 3 positive tests in the past 2 years. I've tried different treatment protocols and haven't found something yet that has helped me eradicate it. I just saw a new functional medicine doctor recently about this. She suggested I just try using a nebulizer to inhale a solution of diluted hydrogen peroxide, saline, and iodine. She said it can help get rid of the body of MRSA, so it was likely to help with MARCoNS as well. Do you have any thoughts on this treatment she was suggesting? And do you happen to know of something that actually works to help heal the body from this? Thank you so much for your time and care. All right, Laura, yes, happy to help with this. Work with many people with MARCoNS, which is just short for anybody who doesn't know. It's short for multiple antibiotic resistant coagulase negative staphylococci, which is a bacteria that is basically resistant to antibiotics, oftentimes because a person has taken antibiotics so many times that they're now, this bacteria is not responding well to it. But a big part of this is also that, again, this typically resides deep in the sinus passages, which are above the eyes and below the eyes. And what happens, the bacteria continues to grow and overgrow there. It causes inflammation. And it really wears down the body. So the body becomes quite tired. So what do you see? Well, you see people with a lot of chronic fatigue, chronic inflammatory response syndrome with this. A lot of people with mold have this. A lot of people with Lyme. A lot of people with, I would say, any type of biotoxin type illness. So this is not uncommon at all. However, there's not one thing. So let me just give you this. So what I use for the nasal passages is a neti pot. And I would do that for people 1 or 2 times twice a day. And I would put in 3 drops of citrucidal drops. Okay, those are the strongest things known to man. There's no doubt about it. We use it as part of our CBO protocol for a lot of people. And that's what I would do in the nasal passages. Again, this is not a medical treatment protocol. However, it's just something that I'm suggesting you may want to look more into. So, but besides that, I would do the nutribiotic nasal spray. So basically, you can do the nutribiotic nasal spray. You can inhale it deep into your nasal passages. You can tilt your head forward, allow it to all be breathed in. You can use the neti pot to eradicate all of that. But what I would also say is this. You can try using colloidal silver nasal spray another 2 or 3 times during the day. Colloidal silver nasal spray has worked for many people, and it may work for you as well. Now, again, having said that, MARCoNS is not, this bacteria is not the end-all be-all. One of the reasons why your body's not able to eradicate it is because it's very fatigued right now. And you're dealing with most likely many other issues or potentially other issues, such as viruses, heavy metals, intestinal permeability. So you can't just work on one thing. You really have to work on emptying that rain barrel. If you've not read my book yet, The Rain Barrel Effect, you definitely want to check that out because there's multiple things I'm sure going on with your body that's causing inflammation. So, again, like we want to help. There's no doubt about it. So if you're getting results with your current practitioner, then fantastic. Keep working with them. And that's what you should do. But you should be assessing gut issues, heavy metals, omega-3 ratios, food sensitivities. So just make sure you're doing those things, that you've run the right labs. I would run the big 5 labs, no doubt about it. And I would probably run a stool and bacteria test as well. Run those, work on what you see, and then begin to move through the program. All right. As for your question for hydrogen peroxide, saline, and iodine, it can be fine, but you might want to use that in the short term, not long term. Always be careful when you're using hydrogen peroxide in the body. It is corrosive, it is oxidative, but at the same time, it can help kill other types of bacteria as well. You just have to be careful that you don't go overboard with it, and certainly I don't recommend it unless you're under the supervision of a practitioner. So Laura, thank you for writing in. Hopefully that was helpful answering your question. Okay, let's get to our next question. I believe we just have one more for the day. Let me check, make sure we got our 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have time for either one or two more. So let's check this out. This next one is from Marlene. She says, would you say that autism can be cured? All right, Marlene, thanks for writing in. I've gotten this question many, many times. I am someone with postdoc certifications in GAPS, which specializes in autism and autism spectrum-based disorders as well. Because again, I would say autism is a spectrum. It's not one specific thing. And it doesn't look like there's even one specific cause, although it does seem to be at least related in part to the gut and gut-based dysfunction. And of course, that's not the only thing, but it does seem to play certainly a part in this. And then of course, there's other factors that begin to trigger this as to when autism comes on, because it can come on early, in, I wouldn't say infancy, but early, and then it can come, I'd say early as a toddler as well. Again, it depends on exposure, depends on multiple different factors. But here's what I'll tell you, because I have quite a bit of experience inside of my practice. Once you begin to help children with autism and you get some success, you get quite a bit of referrals because it is a pretty tight-knit community, which I think is great because, of course, parents need the support there. So what I can tell you is this. I've gotten remarkable results, and I can tell you that it is not just me. Like, I just want you to know that there are specific protocols that you can follow. And so I want to share just some of those right now. You want to be able to first and foremost assess gut function. If there is intestinal permeability, and there are proteins and bacteria and yeast and other factors always moving through the gut wall, of whether it's a child or adult, that causes a lot of inflammation. It can inflame the brain. It can inflame any part of the body. So you want to work on that right away. That's always the core foundation for the most part of working with children with autism spectrum disorder. And you also want to look at toxicity issues. Sometimes the liver, especially at a young age, is not able to clear toxins as quickly. So there could be some help needed in that area. And then certainly by eliminating major food sensitivities, that is going to help tremendously as well. Now, I will tell you this. Sometimes you run a food sensitivity test with someone with autism, and there could be 20 foods that are high. Of course, it'd be difficult to avoid all 20. So you can tell by this factor that there's just massive intestinal permeability. So the best thing that you can do is actually clear the candida, the bacterial overgrowth, the H. pylori, or the parasites, or sometimes it's 2 or 3 of those. So that's my first place, at least, to say to get started. Don't go this alone, for sure. If someone has autism, child, then you want to be working with a practitioner because you're going to want to do multiple follow-ups. So I would, you can definitely check out anyone local in your area. That's a great thing. We have so many thousands of practitioners around the world through IHP. You can just go to integrativehealthpractitioner.org, click on practitioners, and you should be able to find some level 2 practitioners there that can begin to run labs with you, because you're going to want to run some labs if possible. Ideally, you'll run at least just the gut labs. So, these are the labs that I would run. I would run the bacteria and parasite stool test. That's number 1. The next one I would run is the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. Then I would run the minerals and metals test to look for heavy metals. Then I would run the food sensitivity test. And number 5, I would run the omega-3 test. So that's what I would run if I were in your position. So all of those things, again, can be addressed. So now, can it be cured? Well, again, we have to be careful not to use this word cure, because we can't use the word treatment or cure or diagnosis, okay? So what I can say is this. You can reverse the underlying root causes that could cause the symptoms of autism. And yes, that can happen. Now, I found it to be quite successful the younger the child and the faster that you get started. Okay. So meaning like if it's been years and the symptoms have continued to compound, it's difficult to go back all the way to when there was no sign of these particular symptoms. But I've seen everyone improve. That's the good news. So whether it's 100%, 70%, 50%, 30%, it's nice to get at least 30% improvement. So I would say definitely continue with it. Continue on. It's worth it. It's worth it for you. It's worth it for the whole family. And definitely I recommend that to you. And of course, like I said, there are many practitioners that do this all throughout the world. I'm certainly not the only one at all. All right. We're going to keep it at that for today. Appreciate all of you, all the questions that you've written in with, all your support. If you're ever looking for same day questions as well, you can always write in at cabralsupportgroup.com. That's our free Facebook group. Almost 11,000 members there from around the world. It's completely free. People ask questions, they share advice, and that's really what it's all about. So it's a pretty amazing community, completely organic, never marketed, like we've never advertised anything like that. It's just completely organic, really great community. Definitely check it out if you get a moment. That's cabralsupportgroup.com. And then, of course, you can always search all the previous 1,885 podcasts at stephencabral.com/podcast. Just type in your keyword, put in quotations if you want, and you'll be able to see the previous podcasts on that. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have an amazing rest of the weekend, and be sure to tune in tomorrow for the best start to the week on our Mindset and Motivation Monday show. Before you go, I have to share with you a brand new debut, something that I've been working on for the last 8 months. You know that it takes a lot of work to create new formulations and new products because of our high commitment to excellence in the industry. Simply put, we want to make sure that we third-party test all of our ingredients, and they're always bringing you the very best of the best. This is no different, and this has been something that has been requested for quite some time, and that is there something that my kids and I can eat that is a guilt-free, healthy treat? So with that in mind, we literally went and created a dark chocolate superfood bar. So with this, you are not only getting all of the benefits of dark chocolate, of organic dark chocolate, of course, but you're also getting these superfood benefits. That means all of the bioflavonoids or the flavonols from raspberry, cherry, and apple. And if I had to give you a specific flavor, it tastes like a cherry raspberry chocolate bar. It is absolutely delicious. I have been tasting these along with my wife for about the last 6 months since they've been in production. We've been trying out different flavor batches, and I can tell you this, they are absolutely delicious. And one of the best parts is that they are a guilt-free treat. These are all organic, and one of the great things about it is that they are tested for pesticides, they are tested for molds, they are tested for other issues that a lot of other bars might contain. We make sure that all of our bars are third-party tested for that. The other nice thing is that they are only 90 calories. So instead of giving you a big chocolate bar, which we all know can be taken down in one sitting, we wanted to prepackage these. So these are just the perfect amount for a guilt-free treat. Whether you're enjoying it after a workout or whether you're enjoying it after dinner, it's 90 calories. And when we look at that, we can say, if you were even just to split that, if you chose to, with a partner, your spouse, whoever you're enjoying a dinner with, you're taking it down to 45 calories. So in my opinion, this is one of the best ways, really one of the best ways to enjoy your dark chocolate mixed with superfoods and feel good about it. So check it out right now over at equi.life. That's EQUI.LIFE. I'm super excited about this. For one, my wife loves them, and I love to be able to create products that my wife will use as well. My kids love them, of course, because they're chocolate. And of course, I enjoy them just the same. Now, I always, whenever possible, it's not always possible, but whenever possible, I love to be able to get these to you free. And that's exactly what we're doing. Limited time offer and limited number of boxes. We are literally giving these away, a free box over $149. So any qualifying purchase over at equa.life, over $149, we're actually going to ship you a full box free. So head on over, enjoy these new dark chocolate superfood bars, all organic, of course, and tested for mold as well as pesticides. Head on over to equa.life to get your free box while supplies last.